Good morning, everybody, in here, and welcome to Trading Within the Box here on October 16th, 2023 here. And we're going to go over some stuff and see where the market's heading also. And this is, first of all, this is an educational video only. This is not a recommendation to buy, hold, sell, or solicitation to buy any stocks, options, equities, futures, or Forex. This is an educational video only. If you'd like to purchase stocks, please contact a licensed professional or the brokerage house of your choice, and they will help you there. Okay, so this is trading patterns, okay? So that's what we're going over here, okay? First of all, we're going to start off with the S&P 500 here, okay? And I want to show everybody some stuff, okay? So let's get to it. Okay, we came off the bottom here. Now, look at the daily chart here on the S&P 500 coming to support. Now, when we came to support, we were looking at the line chart, and what did we see? We got a small retest W right there, right at that spot. Okay, and then we got the follow-through volume, okay? Now, we thought it would probably stop around here, but nothing's ever exact. See how they sometimes go over and then they come back? Now, what we're waiting for here is, as we were coming up into this area right here, look at the volume as it died a little bit. Now, look at the selling volume kick in. Now, today, we want to find out if we're going to get this. Are we getting this type of thing? Are we getting the W and then we're going to head up? Okay, how we'll know that is we're going to trade that on the smaller time frames. And then how we'll handle that is we'll see if we keep getting the higher lows, and that's what we'll see as we keep going forth with that. Now, let's look at the candlesticks back on the daily chart here on the S&P 500, and let's see what's happening here. Now trading within the box here. Now, watch this, okay? We're within the box, okay? Now, right now, we don't want to do anything yet, okay? Let's say we made money from here, let's say, to here, okay? In this range, okay, right in this spot, that piece of cheese. Now, right here, this could become a little M formation and then head down, okay? Now, if we get the breakout and the short start cover, we get some nice volume kicking in right there. We could head right there up to 446.67. Right now on October 16th here, it's 435.77. So that's something that we're going to have to keep watching. Okay, let's look at really quick on this because we want to decipher what's actually going on here, okay? Now, in the pre-market, there was buying going on here, okay? Look at the buying in the pre-market, okay, right? This box right here, okay? Trading within the box, okay? Now, we come up today in a 2-hour chart and we hit resistance, okay? So let's see what happens. Now, we were going to manage on the small time frame to see if we could get the breakout right there. And we get right up to 442.27, and then maybe we get a little bit of pullback. Let's see. Now, if we stop here, see how the volume came off right off the support level on the 2-hour chart here? There's really not that many sellers as you're looking here. See the sellers? Look at the buyers, okay? Look at the buyers. Now, the buyer's drying up slightly over here. Let's see what happens. Okay, that's something we're going to have to see what happens. I always like to go to the 45-minute chart because when we look at the 45-minute chart, we see also if there's buying and selling going on here. So as we came down, what had happened, we had the mixed bag come off support in the pre-market, okay, right there. So let's see, we hit resistance, and let's see as it pulls back. Now, if it holds and we start heading up and we get the breakout above the resistance line, which is right there, then we know we're at 442.27. We'll be heading towards that magnet, okay? And that's what this is all about a lot of times, about magnets, because you got the high volume sticks that they always go back to. They go to where they sold off. Now, look where they sold off last, right here. And what happened? Came exactly right back to it, okay? So you got support and resistance right there. Came right back to it, okay? So that's something that always remember that too. Now, what do we do also when we want to see what's happening in a market? We want to see the banks. We want to see what are the banks doing? Are the banks weak? Are the banks strong? Let's see. Now, let's go to a week because we just got over the week here. On a weekly chart, I was noticing this earlier on today. And what happened to the weekly chart here as, let's just get rid of the VWAP there, right there, okay. What happened, we went right into resistance right in that spot right there. So there's a major pressure point right there on the banks, on the XLF basket. We do have a crossover, we're in the sweet spot, and we had decent volume coming off the bottom here, capitulation candlestick on the weekly chart. So we knew that, what does that do? It points to support, okay? So there was no more pressure of selling right there, okay? And come up, bang, we slam right into it, okay? So let's also look at the 2-hour chart on the banks, the bank basket. So now the bank basket goes into resistance just like the S&P 500. And what do we have going on here? Look at the sideways consolidation now, okay? Now this is a major consolidation right here, okay? And then let's look down at the volume. Now at the volume right here, we had a little bit of selling drying up. Now, selling drying up, a little bit of buying, okay? We have a little increasing in volume here. Now let's see what happens here. Now we have this candlestick right here, which is a bullish signal, okay? Whenever you see this right here on the XLF, you see that candlestick on the 2-hour chart, that's a bullish candlestick. That means what happened was we opened down here, right down here, and they bought it back up, and then they followed through buying it, okay? So that's a bullish candlestick on the 2-hour chart on the XLF. Let's go over to a 45-minute chart and see what's going on there. As we go into the 45-minute chart here, what do we see? Okay, so remember, it's only 11:48 a.m. right now. So we have another bullish candlestick on the 45-minute chart. Okay, so let's see. Now we know, okay, this could be bullish. We have volume that's not that great here. Let's get the 45-minute stochastic to pull all the way down. Let's see if we hold. Now, if we hold the line here, the 20-day moving average, let's see if we get that burst and we start heading up, okay? Then we'll put the S&P 500 right next to it and also see if that's going to do the same thing. Then we know we're going to start heading up. We want to look at the semiconductors, excuse me, because on the semiconductors, what do we see here? Okay, what do we see on the semiconductors? We holding the line for support, right? Okay, so on the daily chart, we had a little pullback, okay, and then let's see if we're going to hold here. We want to see if we hold the line. Now, let's go to a 2-hour chart here on the semiconductors. Now, the semis are in a little bit of a different position here, okay? They sold off. Let's see if it holds and then starts heading up. Let's see right now. This looks a little on the weaker side than the XLF, the bank basket, and the S&P. On the 45-minute chart, we're starting to get a little bit of buying, okay? We have very small amount of sellers up here, okay? So let's see what happens with that. IWM, which is the pulse of the future in trading, which I call it the speculators, and a lot of others do also. Let's see what's happening on the daily chart. Now we have this bottom. Now we've seen this before where we get the bottom right here, which was an incredible starting point. So if you're coming down and you get the nice volume, see how you came down to support right in this spot right here, but you didn't have that great, good volume. See how you have a nice volume right there coming off the support level. Great place to start the trade. Okay, great place to exit the trade right there, where the 20-day moving averages. We talk about magnets all the time in the stock market. What happens is they magnetize to the 20-day moving average. They magnetize to the support levels because these shorts that are up here that are shorting have to cover and make their money back. How are they going to do it? They have to buy back the stock. Shorting, borrowing, and then buying it back with an engulfing, with nice volume. Head up, we fail. Okay? Now, when we come down, let's check the volume out. Let's see what happens. So right there on October 6th, we had 42.16 million shares. We were coming into that with 38.69 and 33.96. So we're coming in with lighter volume. Then we get another bounce. Now we want to see if there's follow through on this bounce, okay? Now this bounce could happen and we could be trading within the box right here, okay? And we could get this and then this kind of thing again. Okay, let's see what's going to happen. How we will know is obviously how my style of trading is. We'll go to the small time frames, and we'll see how over on this side, as we came to support, watching it, boom, we got the engulfing. We come back into it with lighter volume. We know we're off to the races until the resistance area. Then we pull the profit. Okay? We come back into the area right here, okay? We had this candlestick with this volume stick right here coming in with much lighter volume right there. What happens? We get another bounce. Now, we do have a little bit of follow-through volume here from the pre-market into today on the IWM, but we don't have a really convincing thing. But we want to see if this is going to be a right side of a W. Okay, that's what we want to see. We want to see if that's going to be a right side of a W, okay? And how we'll know also is we'll go to the 45-minute chart. Right now, the 45-minute chart, they're buying, okay? They're buying on the 45-minute chart. So what we want to see is during the day, the volume is dead. But we want to see what will happen is we pull back, and then boom, we clear this area. And then we get to the resistance area, we pull back again. And then we have another support line right there. Then boom, we keep making, let's say, new highs. And that's how we're going to manage the SMH. Now, that's enough time for all that stuff. Let's go over to the stocks that we want to go over, and let's shoot over to Microsoft really quick. And on Microsoft, let's see right here. Let's go to a daily chart. Now, we were going over this the other last week or whatever, and what had happened was we came down, came up, we failed, and we knew we were going to kind of fail up here at this spot. Because we had that nice sell-off candlestick, but then we held. So what happened was we come up with light volume, and then we want to see if we're going to break this area. Boom, we get the engulfing, okay? We come back, we hold support, and now we're in resistance again. So on Microsoft, we're at 334.59, and we're at resistance. So right here, the imaginary line, let's see if we get the breakout. Now we want to see if we get the breakout up to 340.35. That's the next stop, okay? So trading in this market is little pieces, okay? How would we do the little pieces of trading is we'd start at support, we know resistance, that's trading within the box, okay? Right there. So let's say we got in at around 313, 314, 315. So we take the profits at 321. We come back down to support, we start the trade again. We're at 314 again, and then we want to be careful in this area. Now we get the breakout, okay? So let's say we're at 314, and we were up into 328. Now, we would take profits because we want this to pull back. We're going to have a beautiful profit right there, and then we'll take it back to support. Now, starting at support again, let's say, right there. And then, bang, right at resistance, we'd start the trade over again. And we'd be at 324 to, let's say, in this area, 332, okay? So that's not a nice trade. That's an incredible trade. That's an incredible way of managing this. Now, we would start the trade here again at support, okay? And then we would take it right off there again because we want to get a breakout. We want to see if we can get a breakout on Microsoft above until the next range, okay? Let's go over to the 2-hour chart on Microsoft. And what's happening, we do have nice buying volume here, okay? We have nice buying volume because look at the bottom right here. Why? Look at that, okay? We had pre-market buying going into this week here, and we have a little bit of profit take, and they're going to do that. They're going to jump it up in the morning, and they're going to profit take. Now, as this comes and follows, then we go here, and then boom, we start breaking out to 338.64, okay? And then we'll take the profit right there again, okay? So that's how we manage. That's how you can manage it up if you don't want to just stay in. But in this market, you have to be careful. Very, very careful of staying in for periods of time in this market because it could go the other way very, very quick. Now let's go over to Apple right now. And on Apple, what do we have here? We went into my supply area where I had drawn that pink little box, okay, went right into my supply area. What happened? Profit taking has to happen, okay? Trading within the box. Now, when I drew this little gray little box right here, these were we were checking out the order flow, and we were watching where the money was coming in, okay? And it came in right there, okay? So we have some nice support right there below us, okay? We have nice support right now. We have support on Apple at the 20-day moving average, okay? So now on Apple, let's move over to a 2-hour chart and let's see what's happening, okay? So we came to support on Apple on a 2-hour chart at 176.10. We're at resistance right now on Apple on the 2-hour chart, okay? We want to see, we have nice volume. Now look on a 2-hour chart with Apple. I want you to take a quick look here, and where I'm drawing these little boxes, look at the buyers, okay? Okay, so we don't have a lot of sellers, right? Every time we came to the moving average, what happened? We came to it, they bought. Came to it, they bought. Came to it, they bought. Now we had the sideways consolidation here. We're waiting for it to clear this area, okay? Right here, boom, we clear it. We get up to resistance. Profit taking, they did it too, right? Come back to support, you go buy, okay? And then you don't get much off of that, okay? We come back, we fail, we get an engulfing for a sell of profit taking. Now you will get that, and then you'll bounce, and then you can start heading back up again. You will see that sometimes. You'll have a seller in there, but it won't be huge monster volume selling, okay? So on a 45-minute chart, we don't love the volume. We don't love the volume. So let's see what's going to happen here if we're going to start getting an engulfing. So on Apple, we have dying volume today. Okay, dying volume. Let's see if we hold and then start heading up, though. That could very well happen, okay? That could very well happen. So on Apple, again, let's go to a 4-hour chart. I usually don't use this, but I do like to see the volume on a 4-hour chart a lot of times. And beautiful support at 175.97 on Apple, okay? A lot of times when they hit that first support, a lot of guys will cover because they're afraid, okay, that we're still in an uptrend, okay? So that's something we're going to have to see. So let's see if we come back on Apple. Let's see if we stay under the moving average and then we come back to support again and then come up. Let's see what happens. Right now on Apple, on the weekly chart, we have crossed up, okay? We're crossed up. So let's see what's going to happen here if we're going to start heading up again on Apple, or are we going to get this and then we come back down? Now, the volume's pretty decent, okay? And remember about your earnings on the week of October 30th, okay? So that's where we want to look at that, okay? Let's go over to UNH, United Healthcare Group, and let's see where that whole thing is. And right here, we came off support, and we were going over this, how we had some incredible trades. Now, on the daily chart, remember when I was going over this with everybody, and the market was selling off, and we were right in this spot right here. Remember I said they're buying it. Remember they were buying my videos. Go back to my videos about how I said that UNH had relative strength at the time. Now, UNH came to resistance, came back to support, and they bought off it. Okay? Now, when they just had earnings here, so on October 13th, they had earnings, and we had we had a pop up right into resistance off of support, okay? So I told you that they know something way before the big dogs, okay? And what did they do? They were buying it. So this was a nice trade, and I called it as it had the relative strength, and we had some beautiful volume kicking in on UNH, okay? Now, on UNH, this is something that you have to be careful as you're chasing this. Be careful. Don't chase it, because we already had a lot of on September 18th, the week of September 11th and September 18th. We came up and we had some strong buying right into the resistance area. Now, as you look at this on the weekly chart, we have the W with the engulfing. We have beautiful volume up here, okay? Now, be careful, because now look where you are. You're in the red zone. Okay, you're in a supply area here. This is where the selling takes place, okay? So on UNH, the trade was down here, let's say at 483. You're up to 542 almost. 541.98 right now, okay? But you have a doji. So what happens with the dojis are, that's on a weekly. Let's look at 2-hour chart. You got to be careful when you start to see these dojis, because what happens, that means that there's no more buyers. There's no more buy orders here. So they start to get thin, and you'll see something like this show up. You'll see this kind of thing right here. You'll see this kind of thing, and then you'll get the spindle. And then actually right here, it's sold off, but what happened? You have a beautiful capitulation candlestick right here, okay? So you could be drifting back to the 9-day moving average, exponential, and then boom, we could head back up, and then we could be heading to 549.16. So this trade cannot be over yet, right? That's on a 2-hour chart, okay? So that's something that you're going to have to look. But you got to be careful. When you're down here and we're getting ready to buy, you'll see like these little things show up. These little dojis. And then in the aftermarket, you'll see one of these type of things with no volume. And then in the pre-market, you'll start to see the guys coming in, okay? They'll come in. And then you say, holy crap, they're buying this thing here, okay? What are they doing? They're buying it, okay? You'll even sometimes see this in the pre-market. You'll get a signal right here with a capitulation. What are they doing? Are they actually selling this thing? You get a little bit of a drop, and then you'll get the engulfing. And then into the next day, you get the aftermarket and then the pre-market right here. And then you say, all right, they are. It just went up above. They're buying this thing, okay? I got to get in somewhere over here, okay? And that's where, especially if you know you got something strong like UNH, okay? So UNH, we got to watch the volume. If we start getting to support and we get a candlestick that looks like today right here, right there, and we start holding with something that looks like this, the selling is then over. And then, boom, we get the follow-through, okay? So that's something that if you're not watching order flow, you'll know that the sellers are not there. You'll see it right here, too. Look at that. There's going to be a change somewhere coming. You're above the moving average, and you're starting to head up, and then boom, there's the change, and that's the buying, okay? And that is in the pre-market. That was in the pre-market on Friday of October 13th, okay? So that's something that little trick there that's I want to teach you there. Amgen, let's go over to Amgen because we don't have much time here left. We have about a few more minutes left, so let's go over this quick. I just want to show everybody here that we're in resistance right now on Amgen. So we got to be careful here, okay? Let's be careful on Amgen. A few people were asking about Amgen. So now on Amgen on the 2-hour chart, in the pre-market they bought, okay? But we are at resistance right here, okay? We're right at resistance. So we got to be able to get up and above that with follow-through volume, okay? To get up to the 291 range, okay? Right now it's 286.03 on Amgen, okay? Let's go over Costco. If you go over to Costco, right now on a 2-hour chart, we're heading towards resistance. But this is another one that we were watching. Remember, we were talking about this one, okay? Now on Costco, we had a huge capitulation candlestick on the support level at 546. If you had an advanced order right there, or a limit order right there, that could have been an incredible trade for you, okay? You could have, one day you could have took your profit there, okay? Well, that's what happens with these super, super strong stocks like Costco. The W, and then we get the jump up. Let's go look really quick at the 2-hour chart, okay? Because we're going to try to break it down. And the 2-hour chart, what happened in the pre-market, okay? They were buying, right? Right there. They're buying in the pre-market. And then you can see it, bam, right there, right up to the we're heading towards the resistance area. Now, be very careful. If we start heading into 573, take your profits, okay? That's where profits would be taken, okay? Now, Caterpillar, Caterpillar, let's go over quick to the daily chart. Trying to go over this really quick because we only have a few more minutes here. And on Caterpillar, this is something we got to be careful of, okay? So we were down onto the fourth peak. Let's see if we get a change of direction here. That's something. Let's look at the weekly chart and see. We could get ready to turn here. We can get a retest right there. And then, boom, we could start heading back up on Caterpillar, okay? Now, let's look at Caterpillar on a daily chart. On the daily chart, this could fail, okay? Because you got some sellers in here. So come up, and we could fail. But we could stop right there at the support level. Let's see if that's what happens. Or are we getting this? And then, boom, we start to get the volume, and we go back up to 285.22. Right now, Caterpillar's at 271.79, okay? That's what Caterpillar's at right now. Okay, let's Goldman Sachs really quick. Goldman Sachs, we're basing, okay? We're basing, but we could get up to this area and fail, okay, too. We have more sellers right now on Goldman Sachs than buyers, okay? But let's see. Let's see if this starts to take a different direction. And we start getting right here, come back, and then boom, we start getting off to the races on Goldman. Because once Goldman gets off to the races, that's always a good one to have. Okay. On the dollar, okay, still holding ground. Okay, dollar still holding ground. Okay, the gold, the GLD, what happened the other day, remember? Right off support. We have massive covering. We have massive covering here. Okay, now we're jumping up into this area. Now we have, this could be a sell signal right here on this monster volume stick. Let's see. They take the profit, they come back. Now, if they come back, you know they're going to try to test this, okay? They're going to come back and try to test that spot, okay, right there, okay, on the GLD, okay? So the GDX, same thing, a little bit different. You're in the resistance area right there on silver, SLV. What happened on SLV? And the silver looking stronger, okay? Silver's looking stronger. Had the W and then boom. Now let's see if we hold and we start getting a trend, okay, on silver, okay? On silver. So that's something that we want to look and see, okay? Last thing is the 20-year, the bonds have been getting whacked. And if you were short this, when I had this massive seller up here, see this right here? You had massive sellers up in this area, right there. Right there at 99.81, 101.71. It's 86.12, okay? So that would have been an incredible short down to support. Took your profits, came back, and then shorted again. We held here, boom, we get the gap down, and we're off to the races shorting this again. Now, we're down here, right here, and we're hitting support levels. So come up to the moving average, just short, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here if we hold and then we start to go back the other way. But bonds right now are not looking good. Let's go to a weekly chart so we can see actually really what's happening. And we do have some covering here, okay? We have some covering in this spot. So let's see. We could very well get something like this and then back up to this area and still be heading down on the bonds, okay? Bonds have been in big trouble on the 20-year, okay? And the others. Now, on the bonds, if you were switched to TBT, which is the short, you would have done incredible, okay? Because you would have got this, let's say, in the 29 area, and it's $41. But you're at a major resistance area on the short level, on the weekly chart, on the short, the 20-year Treasury bond, okay? With that said, I want to thank everybody for coming. Thank everybody for watching. We went over the time here. There's a 30-minute video. Please like, subscribe, share my channel if you like the content here. I hope this helps everybody. Have a wonderful week trading, and please be careful as we're going into these resistance areas on the short levels here. Okay, on the short, like the SDS. Okay, we had I'm sorry, the TBT we were looking at. On the TBT, we're way into that right now, slamming into that area. But let's see if we break out, and then we head up even higher. Okay, if we break out and then we head up to the 50. We could head up to $51 on the TBT, the short 20-year Treasury. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.